When you feel lonely, when you feel hungry, we tend to make bad decisions, but don't let that cloud your judgment. So anytime you are looking for something to fill your stomach, think about pizza. And I'm talking about not any pizza, Pizza Salvatore. And that's why I'm giving you my promo code YSP, because once you go into order, you're going to get 10% off your next order. And don't forget, once you order Salvatore with this promo code, you're just encouraging Yellow Seed on stepping up the game, going bigger, going faster. So thank you very much for our partner. And don't forget to grab your pizza. Let's go. What's up, guys? Yellow Sea Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Antonio. My next guest, let's talk about a prolific entrepreneur, someone that just traveled the world, someone who's into art. He's an actor. That's how I met him. I met him on Netflix, actually. So he's sitting next to me, and I'm proud to introduce to you guys Juan Grey. What's up?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man?
You know, I've experienced so many beautiful moments since we last seen each other.
Quite a few years.
Well, it's been a few years, and then I saw you actually even more recently. But I'm feeling great, and I'm really proud of you, man, for keeping on and staying consistent in a vision that you had a couple years ago. And we're sitting back here, man. So good job for that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a hell of a marathon, how I call it. Like you're just running after a goal, but it's just this marathon does not end. And you know what? I got good cardio. So right now I'm still going, thankfully. Thankfully to the team, thankfully to my environment, to my partner, my love partner. She's the one who keeps me sane. But you know, the family is like
you know what it is a lot to be an entrepreneur is the capacity to endure. You know, it's to endure. And what does it mean to be resilient? It's really to be able to take in everything and hold on to the vision. Something I heard yesterday was let the foundation hold you, let the structure hold you, let the systems hold you so you can hold the vision, right? And as someone who's a visionary and has this vision, it's so important to be able to keep it. And through that vision, how do we stay resilient and endure everything that it comes with? And then there's always another side on the other side, right?
There's definitely a learning curve, like of everything we do now. Like, you know, there's this thing about entrepreneurship. Once you reach 5 years, you're prone to be like there for the next 5 years because you just made like the toughest years. Thankfully, once again, this little thing that I've created already did 5 years. Actually, I can't say exactly. I didn't know that exact date, but I know it was a transition between May and June 2020 when I started this, the first episode. It could be this date. As far as I'm concerned, it could be June 11 that we're recording this now, that we started our first episode. So it could be an official 5 years. And out of 5 years, it's a crazy journey. I think it's one of the riskiest and dumbest decisions that I've made. But at the same time, when you look at it, when you are now, it's the best decision I probably made, especially for someone who's in marketing. Marketing is about relationships, so you want to be all over the place. You want to be surrounded with the right people. And one thing, mainly, you want to have a circle of contact of valuable people. So it's a crazy journey. 100%. And so tell me about yourself. So you are a prolific entrepreneur. What does a prolific entrepreneur do?
Yeah, it's a big question. I mean, I never really considered myself or titled myself that. I think a lot of people have said you're multidimensional, you're so prolific, because I think I see a lot of colors. I see a lot of colors, and I can see how the different colors come together in an entire art piece. I believe that as people, we're here to experience, and through the different experiences, it allows us to have take those experiences, and it allows us to create something that's unique to us, but that can impact a lot of different people. I feel very blessed in the way that I can truly connect to many different art forms since I'm young. I'm talking music. I'm talking having the ability to act, to direct, to not only be as a director, be able to create a vision and put a scene, but also to produce and make it happen. Because without the producer, the movie never gets done. And life is an entire movie, right? Like the fact where this is a scene right now that we're living, but most people are asleep. that are asleep through the film of their life, and they're not the director, they're not the screenwriter, they are not in any capacity taking ownership of their life.
They're NPCs.
Yes, and it's something that is it's a big thing, right? So actually being someone who's been a creative my entire life and created in many degrees, I'm like, I remember when I made my first little movie, right? What that made me realize is, okay, we're always in a scene. Now, how do I want to experience it? How can I also make it so that people around me have a better experience through this? Who do you want to be? And we all have moments where we're not proud of maybe how we acted. But the most powerful thing, because everyone makes mistakes. And at the end of the day, no matter what you do good, the people are going to judge. So it's more, how can you be present and learn from the things that you experience and be aware of where you went wrong and actually have the capacity to correct it and make it better and better and better every time. And really enjoy the experience to the fullest.
Enjoy the moment.
You get it one, yeah. Enjoy the moment and be present through it.
Entertain me. You said you're able to mix colors together. Tell me, like, I want to see it really exactly. What do you do? Have you had an experience where you've been in this realm and you've just took all the elements and mixed them together and you saw this type of mixture of color all together? I want to dig into your head, really, how you see this mix of colors.
Yeah, man. So I see it as experiences that you can bring to the world, right? So I'm going to give you an example of, like, when I first executive produced a film years ago that first brought me to Cannes Film Festival. That was a big experience for me, and that was like, I was already acting back then. I already had a couple TV shows under my belt. I had maybe one professional theater play that I had done, which was also a big experience for me. And then I got the opportunity, working with a screenwriter, to produce a film and be a producer, and in that case was an executive producer. So I actually was a financier, so I put money in the project. So I was like an investor. I was an investor that then, because that's what an EP actually is. He's a guy who puts in the money, or he's a guy with massive contacts. And back then, I mean, I was young. I was 20 years old, so I didn't have much contacts in the film industry. And I believed in a project, so I decided to put, some money and when you put money, especially when you're that young, it really means a lot, right? Because you don't have, like every piece of capital that you put is really, really intentional. And it doesn't have to do with age. It just has to do with belief, I think. And so that for me was a big experience of seeing, okay, now I am not just an actor, I am also a producer. I'm an executive producer. I'm hanging out with executive producers, and I am someone who can carry a vision. And now from there, I became a casting director. So that casting director now adds to the fact, what is a casting director? It's a very creative role, because a casting director is a person who's at the end of the day is going to decide who are the actors who are going to be in the movie. How big of a role is that? It's massive, right? And imagine in life we're the casting directors of our own life, of our own experience. We decide who are the people around us that are really going to get to be in our movie, right? You and I both made a decision to cast each other in this moment, in this scene. Yeah, you know what I mean? Sure. And so that's what's beautiful about it. And so when I talk about the colors, is like different experiences have shown me that we get to give a most powerful experience to people when we're able to bring in more life. And more life is when we take more. We're here to create. I believe that we are here to be in God's image, and God's the ultimate creator. And so to be in God's image is to actually take that capacity that we have inside of us, which is to create to the fullest. And to create to the fullest, you have to go through a big process. You have to go through many deaths. Yeah.
You said something right now that's it's interesting, and maybe I want to get into it later, but I'll just throw you this ball right now. God is the creator. How do you feel that AI now is becoming a creator too? Is AI the next God?
No, I don't see AI as the next God. I see artificial intelligence as a intelligence that is actually connected to divinity. And the reason why is because I believe actually that God created artificial intelligence. And therefore it's another type of intelligence that allows for more creation. Now, just like anything, creation cannot exist without destruction, right? And so destruction itself is part of the cycle of life. And so artificial intelligence can destroy, right? And to a certain degree will destroy a lot of things.
It will.
Now, we have a capacity to a certain point of collectively acting in ways where it's going to move the needle forward on what it's destroying, because it's going to destroy and it's going to create. More creations have been happening in the last couple of years because of artificial intelligence, right? And which is powerful and beautiful. And I think that's actually it's almost a extension of the God within. But at the same time, there's a lot of destruction that is happening and will happen. But now it's like, what will it destroy? And I do believe that in a certain capacity, it depends on the consciousness that we're all at. It's a mirror to the consciousness that we have.
Once you enter the room, you want to have people look at you. You want people to say, "Oh, you look good. Oh, I like this." And you know how you get that? You get it at middlemen.ca, because the first impression is what counts the most, especially when you do events. We're all over the place. So once I wear one of these blazers that just stand out of the whole room, everybody wants to come near you. They want to know who you are. What do you do? And this is the type of business talent that you're going to bring to other people. So think about middlemen.ca the next time you want to attract attention and you want to be the one who's going to be serving everyone. So if you support Middlemen, you're just supporting Yellow Sea Podcast. So get it straight and support us. And let's get back to the show, guys. I think it will destroy. I like this direction. I think it will destroy the way we see things, the way we believe in certain things. Yeah. I think it will destroy, like many believe. Possibly it will influence some religion to rethink the way they see things, because now you will have access to, let's say, to a tool, to something that's able to maybe derive you from your original thought of this is going this way, but you have this other, once again, I don't even know what to call it, like this tool that's going to show you another different perception of things. For example, this is the wackiest, let's say, idea that I've seen is that we all talk about, let's say in Catholicism, we all talk about the reborn of Jesus. Jesus will come back to us. And someone said that as AI become more powerful, it will be able to create, let's say, a robotic Jesus. It will have all the, like, its input, everything, like the whole story. And this might be really what the Bible defined as when Jesus comes back to save the people, but it's just going to be an AI that would have programmed Jesus to come back, and then we will all be like blown away that, all right, this is really what the Bible said, but we never expected to be in this form. And like you said, if AI is a creation of God, then it kind of makes sense that the next AI that we all going to shift our mind could be a possible Jesus this way. It's wacky. It can also be that exact situation can also be the hook that gets people. It's, you know, there's a lot of tests to test your faith, and as people, we have an internal compass of what's real and what's pure, but we can only have real discernment when we have purified our own soul, because we live in constant distortion. Constant distortion. We talk about the matrix, right? Really, what is the matrix? It's a way of blindfolding you to the truth, and to show you things and patterns and get you living in behaviors and patterns and beliefs that are not your own, that are coming from somewhere else, that are coming from a power that is there to control, that is coming from greed, and that is coming from submission, trying to have you to submit. Because if people are let's just call it awakened, and are able to see beyond, then power cannot be contained, because now it becomes collective power. And that's actually something that I wrote called Dimensions of Power. Like, power itself is not bad. The concept of power is not bad. It's the power that is, where is the purpose of power, and where is it rooted from? And where is it coming? Is it coming from control? Is it coming, because power itself is really just energy in motion. So energy, if you have power and you have power to feed a bunch of kids that are hungry,
You have power to make real change that is needed. You have power to save your family from a dangerous situation. That is something that is actually coming from a loving place. And so where is it coming from, right? Usually power is coming because of fear. It's coming of fear deep inside of not being enough. I actually would say that some of the most powerful men in the world are very scared. They're very scared. You know, they're very scared. They're actually in a lot of greed, and they actually have ego that is very intelligent. Don't get me wrong, because power is usually connected to control and to intelligence. You cannot deny the intelligence of people that rule this planet.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that. There's a lot of intelligence. Now, the higher intelligence beyond that, if we can call it unconditional love, is a different type of intelligence because it's not trying to trap. It's not trying to contain. It's not trying to imprison. And it's not trying to possess. And that right there is a whole different ballgame. But to actually be there, that's like where, you know, you talk about humanity ascending, humanity's consciousness elevating, and you come back to the concept of love, which that's the whole concept itself, right?
Power is it's something strange to understand because, yeah, power has the possibility to do great things. However, if we look at power today, like, I wonder if at one point, is there a threshold where you overreach the type of power that you have, that power, you no longer use it for the goodwill of humanity, for example, that power is just being utilized in somewhat in a self form where it could be somewhat like only for your personal greed. It could only be given to as a form of nepotism, for example, like because you just want to like cater to your environment and you want to transfer that power. You want to maintain that power and you want to see it like still flourish generations down. However, you have that same power that you could, let's say, heal 1 billion people. Like there are people that can flip a whole continent, flip a whole country just by a light switch. But do they do it? Like, yeah, I find this is where really the dark side of the too much power. Like, is there anyone actually with that much power that's actually doing anything good about it? Like I said, I find like at one point you just have so much that what do you do with it?
So I know there is. I know there is for a fact. And now this is where, like, you talk about Jesus. Jesus had a different type of power, all right? And, like, Jesus really was an ascended master. Now, what is an ascended master? An ascended master is someone who has found a way to master, goes beyond mastery of self, and is now in a position where they're not needing to control other people, and they're inspiring. If you look at how Jesus led, it was a different way of leadership. And that whole aspect of power, I think, is something that a lot of people learn. And a lot of people are trying to connect to that frequency. But why are they not trying to actually be how Jesus was? And instead, they're just following a certain religion that is telling them what to do. Why do you think that is?
Because look, I just find because you reach power now, once you become the top dog, you become the target. You become the one that everyone wants that position. And one thing we have to understand about being a top dog is that it's not for anyone. It's not for everyone. And once you reach that position, like, there's going to be many people that are going to try to get at you, trying to see you down because they want to have that reach. They want to have that power. And so once you're in that position, I guess it answers the question, the reflection that I just did, because I find that you're in that position where your level of trust is just not the same as it was before. So I guess it's normal for you just to gate your whole surrounding and to make sure that the people close to you stay inside that gate with you and that you can share it. Because once again, there's going to be some other power outside of that gate that's going to try to get at you. And I find that you want to maintain it. Once again, nobody wants to reach the top and then go down from it. So I think, I think that might be the reason why people act like that. So you just don't have like really that significance anymore to have to, you know what, I have the power to make big changes, but if I do all these big changes, I'm opening myself up to losing this privilege that I have that I've created for myself, which is this power.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess it's self-answer myself.
Yeah, we were talking about artificial intelligence, right? And there's some people that can say that it's the root of all evil, right? And they can see exactly why it's destroying, why it will destroy humanity and all that. Let's just say we look at it for a second as an amplifier, as something that will amplify the ability to make something happen. You agree that you can make things happen a lot faster. You can create quicker. You can have almost a second opinion on something because it's a different type of intelligence. Now, the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence working together is one thing, and it can actually create, because there's a creativity that comes from a spark. The people that are going to, in my opinion, be able to create the most and are actually going to be really standing out as creators is not the people that are going to, like in the past, if you had a certain idea and you're able to execute it with different teams and people and, you know, go with one idea, that was the way. And there's a technical aspect that was required. Right now, it's how can you take multiple different ideas from your personal experience that nobody else is going to have in the same exact capacity because it's your true life experience, and you know how to identify real life problems in the world, and how can you piece all of these things together. It's about piecing these things together, and these are all seeds, and the seeds are now being able to be watered by artificial intelligence, and the creation of it doesn't take 10 years anymore. It could be a matter of weeks, it could be a matter of days, but it's how you piece those things together and the container that you build and the capacity that you have to hold.
You know, something I think about, because I'm thinking about like what someone said that I interviewed just recently about utilizing power, and what you said, like what is going to come down to who are going to win. Let's say the transition to AI. Yeah. I find it's funny enough, but I find it's going to be the laziest person. The laziest people are going to be the one who's going to win the AI, because they're just going to find a task for AI to do all of their things they're too lazy to do. But at the same time, lazy person doesn't mean they're dumb. There's just more like, maybe I don't need this. So I find this is the type of person that might be successful at this. And funny enough, I'll give an example that someone said. Give a shout out to Adam Reed for this, of quoting this idea. So I asked him the question, what is your negotiation tactics? And he told me, now in the era of AI, I sit down with, like, to prepare and know for a meeting, a deal that I have to close. I sit down with AI. And I ask them all the possible outcomes on every possible arguments of negotiation we're going to have for this deal. And so he just looks at it. All right, so if I point out this and says this, and it's just, so at the end, he's just looking at like all the arguments possible. So once you sit down, and once again, I have to see, because it's a nice theory. I would like to see really how it plays out in real life. But it could be quite interesting to see every possible argument that someone can give you. Maybe, or, well, hey, it's too expensive. Oh, no, but this is that. Oh, no, I don't have time. Oh, but this and that. Oh, well, I'm not ready just yet. Based on what he said, this conversation he has with AI allows him to have all possible arguments. And once he's ready, you're able to win the deal. So I find that's quite creative and, once again, quite lazy.
Well,
but
I can totally hear that. And here's the thing, like, laziness needs to be paired up with something, because there's a lot of lazy people in the world. Lots of lazy people who actually do not become successful even in the AI space. So you need that element, because what is laziness, right? Like, laziness is, there's an intelligence to it. There's an intelligence to it of not repeating something and wanting to be more efficient in a way, right? And so you wanting an outcome without so much work. That, in a way, you can look at lazy like that. Now, there needs to be paired with real ambition or real hunger. Because just laziness won't get you to the top ever. I think you have to look at history. History always repeats itself through new technologies. There's never been a super lazy person without ambition, without hunger, without a real purpose that has made it to the top. But there has been lazy people that with a lot of energetic desire have done that. So I think that's also a very key component to it too.
I think like a blend of laziness and adversity creates the hunger that you mentioned. Yeah. And also it has to be a witted person. Just to like maybe jump to other subject. Yeah. You're a person who travels a lot. Like if for anyone following Juan, you could tell this guy is unsteady. I don't know where he lives. I don't know where his address is. But it's fascinating to see really someone who's been around all over the place. And like you give off an image of someone who has life in control, who has a lot of freedom. This is my question. What is the definition for you? What is the definition of freedom to you?
That's an amazing question. And it's actually transitioned, I would say, over the last year. So I saw success, let's just say even a year and a half ago, as having a place where you can consistently build and create. And basically, I mean, look, there's different layers to it, but I had that. And that comes with a lot. It comes with an opportunity to be, like you were calling it, unsteady. Because steady, what is steadiness? Steadiness, if you want to look at it as constant and something that is sure and something that is predictable. I realized that everything has like a different time. There's a timeline in life for everything. And I realized, you know what? I think I'm in the time right now where I don't need to find myself anymore. I don't need to be traveling to try to find something of where I is, who it is that I am. But there's an interconnection with the inner world and the outer world that once it really sinks, it's very powerful. But I did realize that I'm in a place where I need to see and get data from the world because I'm here to build something global. And so I was already on the path of building something global. And that either it's through e-commerce, through products, through tech, through different things that I've created and that I have had customers in different countries. I have had, so I've experienced what that is. And I even in like the entertainment space, being in a TV show that became #1 in Germany on Netflix, where I started for the first time experiencing some kind of fandom, where I had a bunch of German girls literally hit me up on Instagram, and I was like, whoa, what is this? I got stopped in the airport multiple times, you know, like, you know that guy, you know? So I know what that feels like. So there's a globality to it. Now, am I the creator of this project, the show? No, but I'm a piece in it, which also I realize there's something nice about being, you know, a piece in a bigger vision. But as someone who's a visionary, there's a part where you need to also take ownership of your own vision. Now, for you to expand properly what your vision actually is, you need to see, and for me especially, I need to feel. Because what I create, I'm not creating it only for myself. Yes, I created many different products. I created earphones when I was younger for a brand called Greatness Within. And I remember spending nights working with like developers and designers in Asia and to make my first earphones. I was maybe like 16, 17 years old. That was an entire process, but I was making it for me because I wanted these earphones. This was before the iPod, what do you call those? The AirPods.
AirPods.
Right? And so that was an entire journey for me, and I was creating it for me, and then it happened that other people thought it was cool, and then other people wanted them, and that was an entire experience. But then I realized some of the things that I'm doing, yes, maybe it starts with something that I want, but it goes deeper. And there is a reflection in other people within each other. Like there's a reflection in you, in me. We can mirror to each other certain emotions that we're both feeling and we've both felt. And maybe you felt before, you know, because maybe I'm a bit younger than you, so maybe there's different moments, but there's things maybe that I've experienced that you haven't experienced yet. And there's mirrors to each other, but we can only really, really feel that once we are actually in a location, because every country, every city, every place has a portal. You know, it's not the same feeling when we're here than we're in Mont-Royal on Sunday, right?
Definitely not.
Then when we're at a certain location, like it's all different portals of energy. And I felt the need to experience those because of what I'm creating. And I want to be talking to the people. I want to be talking, because everything that we create, bro, we're living in a time now, like we want to build an e-commerce website. Guess what? I created something And I automated it in a way where I created it so quickly. I created an entire brand literally in 72 hours. And really, I could have done the whole thing in a day. Like an entire thing that in the past, it would have taken me a couple of weeks to do. So we live in a time where we can create quickly. We can start running ads. I can come up with a concept today, build the entire thing, get the product looking amazing, generated, a lot AI will support, and then we'll have the entire Shopify website ready, and we'll have the first sale today, and then we'll have ads running tomorrow. But what does that mean? That means that there's an automation that's possible. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to do this. So what's the factor that makes it different? In my opinion, it's not AI. It's SI. What does that mean? Spiritual intelligence. Now, what does spiritual intelligence mean? Spiritual intelligence means, to me, because it's a term I just came up with right now, it's it's the because intelligence is basically a matter of how you put different data pieces together. That's how I see intelligence. You're intelligent if you have all this data and you can articulate it or in your own mind for a certain outcome. Because if not, you just have a bunch of like knowledge but it's not converted into wisdom yet. And it's not converted into real intelligence. So spiritual intelligence comes from the soul, and the soul knows through real life, because life is experiences and the soul is experiencing. When I'm traveling through soul. So to know, hey, where are you going next? Where are you, like, right? For me, I listen. And I listen, brother, in a way that's very unique, and it's somewhat new, even though when I started maybe traveling when I was 16 or around there, and I was like, okay, I feel like I have to go here. I really feel, Juan, here's where you're meant to go next. And I ask. And I've had really deep, when you ask me, are you spiritual? Well, that's many people say, oh yeah, I'm very spiritual because I believe in this, I believe in that. For me, real spirit is being able to truly, truly hear and have conversations with God. And I'm saying this not as someone who's like, hey, I'm going to a church every Sunday. No, I'm saying this as there's a creator and you have creator within. So it's that bridge and that faith and that ability to have conversation to say, hey, what can make me the most money today, but what does God want done today? What do you want God done through me? And how can I be of true service to that? And that's a whole different conversation. And that's when I started thinking like that. I also realized that I started getting a lot, even more and more blessings and more magnetism from all kinds of people, and also working with people that are just really more centered in their heart.
Like, I came to realize lately, and I wonder, this sounds maybe like chicken and egg, like paradox, but with the rise of social media and where you can build a community, where you can build, let's say, just an identity. And I find that more and more people are aligning themselves to this state of mind of being more spiritual, trying to find themselves, trying to find a purpose, trying to, like, be guided to something that's not in the common world in which we are told it has to be like this. And I wonder, the chicken and egg part is, are people always been like that? It's just that we didn't have, let's say, the reach, the social media reach in order to understand that other people think alike? Or is the social media created that new state of mind that's just arising? Once again, the same thing as having an AI that's just going to rise and maybe create a new belief. So with that said, in your case, like, to reach that state of mind, that freedom, that vision of where you want to go, where you want to see things, tell me, what are the things that you have sacrificed in order to get there? Because once again, in order to build this community, this whole system that we have, this whole environment, you have to say no to certain things that you used to like. Mm-hmm. And you start to see, really, like, I might like this more that I don't have yet. Yeah. But in order to get it, I have to quit this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's actually an excellent question. That's an excellent question. I think more people should be asked and answer to that. So first thing that came to mind is mind, because the mind is really where you start making all kinds of decisions for initially. You have to have a clear mind just so that you can go through the mind and connect to the heart. That's what I actually believe. Because if not, the mind is not even going to let message and channel. So if we're talking about God, we're talking about divinity, we're talking about an ethereal force, an intelligence, or what I call SI in this situation, you get an idea, where does it come from? You get a transmission, a download, where does it come from? Let's just say it's coming from above and it's coming in here. If it gets stuck in the mind, that actually will lead to depression. It will lead to anxiety. It will lead to all kinds of distortion. Now, you need to be able to have a clear mind so you can actually go here, because your heart, people forget, the heart is really where your real power is. You are your heart more than you are your mind. What is the origin? You always have to ask yourself, where is the origin of who I am? When you were born, were you born as a brain? No, you were a pulsing heart. That's what you were in your mother's womb. You were a heart. That was all. And then from there, things started developing. Okay, you started having this and then a little arm. And so, but we forget so much about the heart. Why? Because everything around us is meant to get us away from the heart, because that's where the real power is. Someone who's truly in that energetic can do anything. When I've been in that, bro, there's nothing I can't do. Right now, I'm in a very big hotel deal. Okay, one of the biggest deals in my life, multi-million-dollar hotel deal, right? Where I'm like, damn, I'm becoming a hotel owner at 29 years old with a restaurant, with a this, with a, like, how did that happen? It was all heart. It was not me going on AI and asking, how can I become a hotel owner? You think that was good? No, it's a whole different frequency. And the people that I've really admired the most, that are extremely successful, and I do know a couple billionaires that are in their heart, those are the most powerful people in my opinion, because they're also happy. You know, there's a lot of wealthy people that are very depressed, right?
Many.
And so money is not the only thing. I posted the other day, I said, you know, like, if money is all that you have, then you have nothing, or you have close to nothing.
Money shouldn't be the goal. Money should be the byproduct. The goal should be something even beyond that, like that only you can reach and only you can make it a sense, such as, let's say, creating a family, for example. You're the only one who could do that, but you can have no family with a lot of money, like you have a big family with money. So I just think that this is a mindset that I find that is too rampant in social media, where people, young people especially, are always chasing the money. And then I'm wondering, are you chasing the money because this is what social media told you, or are you chasing the money because this is exactly what you have in your case, in your heart, like you said?
Most people chase money for status and not for impact and abundance.
And that's the unfortunate part, because once again, we go back to the power question, like, really, where does it end? And I find that maybe you might lose yourself because you're just not chasing the right thing. You lose yourself into chasing the wrong thing because you just were told that this is really the purpose.
You become a different type of slave.
Exactly. And that's a question that I had, like, with quite a few people, like, does the success, all right, let me phrase, I'm trying to find the right phrasing that I had. Is success really the end goal that you had in mind, or is just a distraction to always, like, keep you more busy?
So I'm gonna combine both your questions, because I don't feel like I actually answered your initial question that I thought was really good. So I'll combine it. So here's how I want to get into it. You asked me what did you have to sacrifice? So I told you clear mind. Now, what is the one thing that most people actually consume that distorts and destroys the mind?
Porn.
That's one thing. Absolutely. What's something that you drink?
Alcohol.
Correct. Right. And so that is something that I actually had to sacrifice a couple of years ago. I'm going to get into, I think, 4 years almost. Probably 4 years of not having drank alcohol. And it wasn't, when I say I'm sober, almost 4 years, you know, people assume, oh, you had an alcohol problem. And really, I guess I did, you know what I mean? But was I an alcoholic? No, by any means. But I traveled a lot. I had a lot of meetings. Like, let's just say we would sit down and have a meeting. I would have one drink. But I was so productive in terms of having these conversations, these meetings, and different people. I was in Miami, I was in LA, I was in here, I was in Europe, wherever it is, and having these conversations, and I would have one drink. But if you have one drink every day for a month, you know what that is? That is 30 drinks, or even two. Toxic. That's 60. That's a lot of toxicity that you're putting in your bloodstream, and every single time you're actually killing brain cells. And on an energetic level, you're lowering your energetic frequency, because we're always at a certain frequency, and there's a lot of things that affect it. Your sleep affects it. How you exercise affects it. Your state of mind affects it. The energetic frequency that you have is actually the biggest magnet that you have. Being in your heart, it elevates your frequency. People talk about the word frequency, but they don't really understand what it actually means, because it goes into real science, right? And quantum science and all of that. Now, I had to sacrifice alcohol, and for me, it was a process. And there was a journey, there was a story, and there was a moment. I was actually in Tulum at the end of the year, beginning of a new year. And I had just arrived to Cancun. It was like 11 p.m. I arrived there right on the new year, and I had a moment with people around me, and I said, you know what, this is actually the last time that I drank. And I had a last beer and experience. I had an entire thing, and I said, this is it. And I felt literally like a slight bulb, like lightning be like,
what was
boom.
the trigger?
There was multiple, but there was actually someone that I was seeing back then, and I had just spent some good time with her. She was a very successful entrepreneur that I was dating at the time. And she's like, Juan, you're going to be a billionaire. You know that, right? And she was actually probably making more than me at the time. And yeah, she's doing very well. And she was like, but one thing is that you're going to do all this, and you say this is all stuff that you're going to do, which I believe. But then we went out, and this morning you were like hangover. Like, how does that make sense? Someone like you cannot, you know, the importance of time, you know, the importance of execution. You cannot allow yourself to have this hangover and not be sharp in the morning because you overdrank, to wake up later because you know what I mean? And the way that she said it to me, she's like, are you serious? Like, how serious are you about everything that you say you're going to do? And but everything I know you can do and you have the potential to do. And the way she said it to me, bro, it was like, it was
that's a trigger.
And I remember just laying with her and being like, looking her in the eyes, and she's telling me this. And I think she knew what she was doing, and she didn't drink, actually. And I really respected that. And so that was one moment connected with multiple different moments, because I don't believe there's only one thing enough for a decision like that. And it hit me, and I really saw it. And I said, what am I actually getting in from this alcohol? And I also saw on the other side, okay, I'm getting in, you know, like, what's the pro? Well, the pro is maybe you're spending time with people and you're in a different state. But what state am I in? I'm in a distorted, altered state instead of a present state. So what do I want? You have to really look at it. Altered state, present state. Okay, I choose present state. Do I want to lower or heighten frequency? I want to heighten it. Do I want more health or less health? I want more health. And I realize now that I can be extremely social. People sometimes think I am like actually drunk, like or not even drunk, because I don't. It's not the same frequency of drunk, but it's the energetic. It's, yeah. And wait, you don't drink? I had one moment in London, bro. The people around me, they all thought I was like drunk, and I was just drunk on life. Like, I was having so much fun. I was, yo, this, that, and people thought I was, and I was like, no, and they couldn't believe that I didn't drink. And that right there for me is another dimension of success, because I'm enjoying life and I'm not having to destroy any cells in my body to do that.
You know, it's crazy you say that, because maybe a year ago, I think a year ago, I went to a rave, and I went to a rave. It was down Old Port here. One thing particular about that rave, I got invited by someone that I was working with. So I just met the dude. So like, I went there, didn't know anyone. And one thing I want to say in parentheses is that I got used to being alone, to spending time with myself, going to a restaurant alone and things like that. I kind of enjoy that a lot now that you get more mature. That's something I would recommend a lot of people to maybe even start experiencing. Stop chasing, always trying to be surrounded. Try to spend some time by yourself. Talk to yourself. Go to the restaurant alone. I find this is a great activity that a lot of people should undergo, and not to be ashamed that you look like a loner or whatever. Anyway, so I go to this event, to this rave, like it's packed. There must be like thousands of people in this place. So I meet my guy, whatever. And quickly enough, we get separated. So I end up being alone. So I'm just walking around and vibing to the music. But one thing in particular, like further down during the night, I was sober. That whole night I was sober, but I was enjoying myself so much, just listening to the trance music, the techno music, just being in the rave. I was like just feeling the frequency of the bouncing floor, because it was shaking, like, but it's just like, and at the end of it, I came out, I was like, wow. Like, I really enjoyed myself there once, being alone and being sober. Two things that in previous moments I wouldn't do, because you will be like, oh, I need alcohol to have fun, and I need to be with people so I don't look like a loser. But once you reach that trance moment, I was like, damn, I want to experience it again. And that's something I've been chasing for quite a while. Like, where is that next rave where I'll be able to find myself again and just be navigating with myself, but in this sea of people where you just won. Crazy feeling.
Just attracted, bro. You can attract exactly, you know already the feeling, because the first thing of any attraction, you know, people call it manifestation, and there's like entire things about that, but really attracting a moment comes down to knowing the feeling that you desire. And desire is also a distorted thing. People look at desire now, especially in like spiritual communities, as often a bad thing, you know, because desire is connected to lust. Often desire is connected to a lot of physical things that are not really positive. But the act of desiring from the heart, again, is where do you desire from? What you just told me, do you think it's your mind and your ego desiring it? No.
No,
it's your heart desiring that experience of connection with yourself and probably with the people around you that you felt, right?
And you see, that moment kind of triggers something into myself, because like I said, I go to, if I know I have like few hours free to myself, and I might go eat alone and have a good time.
Yeah.
And I think that moment actually just triggered that self-loving moment.
Love yourself, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I said, and like you look at the whole environment, social media especially, so many people are just begging for it and just begging to be part of it, just begging to be like there into this thing that by the end of the day, has it brought value to you?
Yeah.
Crazy feeling.
Self-love is very important, and it's also often misunderstood.
It's underrated.
It's underrated and it's misunderstood. And you know actually why I continued like doing what I was doing with this card game right here that I know you've played, and I remember you showed it on your podcast and everything like that. It was because that I started seeing how much people started to really, really get to know themselves, and of course get to know each other and connect in conversations. Like I actually just saw someone 2 days ago, and they were like, "Oh, I was playing your card game literally yesterday. I played all the time," and that kind of stuff. And he says, "You know how much it got me to know me," and that's beautiful to me, because for me, it's like when you talk about love, how do you love someone that you don't know? You can't really love yourself if you don't know yourself. And we only get to know and have like real true connection with ourselves through going into the questions. Like questions are openings, they're portals. It's not, and the answers themselves come through the experience. You know what I mean? And so that's exactly what I think more people need these types of experiences where they like when you actually have dinner with yourself, which when I travel, bro, what do you think? You think I'm always having dinners with people? And like, no, man. Like the amount of restaurants I've been in the last couple of months, I was in Colombia, I was in Bogota, in Medellin, in Tulum, wherever it is I am. So many times I'm eating, and I don't even call it, I'm eating like alone. No, I'm eating and I'm enjoying the presence of myself, and I'm trying new places, new things, new that. And it's such a experience because you have an opportunity to be with the moment. First of all, you get to meet new people in the moment too, if you're present.
100%. Right? I always end up meeting new people.
Always.
Because you know what's crazy? Being, let's say, eating alone.
Yeah.
When you have so much confidence to be alone with yourself, let's say at the bar in the restaurant, it attracts people.
It does.
Because I think people just look at you as like, who is that person enjoying and having so much fun by themselves? Not even on their phone, just eating, looking around, smiling at their food and things like that. And I think that since people want that feeling too, but they don't know how to get it. And when you go in that setting, people are attracted to that. And I think exactly because you go there alone. Every single time I went there to eat alone, I always ended up connecting with someone.
Yeah.
Once again, because this is like an attraction that happens. Like, oh shit, I need to go talk to that person.
Yeah.
Spending too much time alone, and it seems fun. So maybe how can I do this?
Yeah.
It's once again.
The last thing I'll say about alcohol is that it builds and it reminds you of the real confidence that you have. Because to experience a place with a lot of people and not be in an altered state, but be in a present state and own it, it takes confidence. Why do you think most people have to do it? Is because they lack the inner confidence. So they're getting a fake boost of confidence, right? And now I can talk to anybody. Dude, you put that in me, I can talk to anybody. I can go talk to the girl. I can go, you know what I mean? I'll get into a fight right now because I'm the man. You're altered. Are you really confident? No. You have to have this fake thing. A true confidence comes without needing to move anything, and just being in the present and being there and having all these people and choosing to experience the moment in that way. So I think that's something that's very powerful for people. And I've experienced people that actually have stopped alcohol, and I'm not going to say that I'm the reason for it, but they've told me that I've inspired them, you know. And I would say like a good amount of people have reached out to me because I shared different things in the past about, you know, some of the benefits without it. And I think it's beautiful to experience that and to see, because it's really, people are connecting back and taking ownership back of their own mind. And that leads to a lot of creation. Like that only leads to much more creativity. It leads to flow. It leads to a lot of things because you're purifying the body.
So, all right. So I want to move on to the other question, get to know you even better, because it's very nice really understanding this, and it gives like a nice sense really of who you are internally. Tell me more about how you see things, let's say, in the business world, because you has been this person who launches businesses, who has been into project, who has ambition to even do few other things. I want to know, what is the biggest risk you have taken so far for yourself?
I've taken a lot of risks, and I think that I didn't really realize the risks when it was happening. At what point I started my entrepreneurial journey, if I really like think about when this beginning was, I think when I was about 13 years old. And that's when I first started identifying the basic of business, the foundation, which is supply and demand. So I saw demand actually with hats in my school, and I found a supplier in Asia, and I started actually doing things like that. So I started kind of getting products from different country, almost like a different portal, and bringing it to this portal. And that's what I started. And that's where I first made some money, and that's where I first identified. And that's how I later got into making my own hats, which I actually brought you one, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Which is an OG hat that I made that brand, Greatness Within, when I was 16 years old, designed the logo, did all kinds of stuff. And that was the first time I saw some kind of expansion, because I had people in different countries wearing it and putting it on social media, and it built a couple thousands of people around that. And it made me really see, you know what, I can build the next Nike.
Okay.
I can build an Under Armour. Like, I believe that it might take 10 years, but I can do that. And I think that now there's a naivete to that. But I think that most people that accomplish big things, they're a little naive to how hard some things are. That's the first step. And that's like the first thing that's required. And so when you actually do those things, you are taking big risks. You're taking risk financially. You're taking risks in relationships, because you're not going to, when you start messing anything up, at some point, there's going to be someone that's maybe not going to be happy. The first part is probably yourself, because you're going to disappoint yourself. But if you're doing something and maybe you're 17 years old and you say, I'm going to do this and I have confidence, I'm going to try, and you fail, and you have someone else who believed in you, there might be like, oh, well, you failed. Some people are going to understand, you know, and who understands? Real entrepreneurs. Real entrepreneurs, you know, like me, someone comes up to me and he says, I have this idea, you know, can you give me a contact to do that? I know there's a possibility this guy might fail. There's a possibility of that. But am I willing to be part of his journey to fail? Because that's what's going to help him succeed. 100%. Now, he's either going to be one of those guys that started something when he was young, maybe tried, and then continued and took another path, and he was not meant for this life, because it's a certain person that's meant for this life. And I knew in my bones that I was, even though I also knew I was an artist. And that's why that also is kind of like an interesting journey. How do you kind of do these things together, which really there's a unison of an artist, because an artist is a creator. An entrepreneur is someone who takes a creation and is able to distribute it and bring value and impact people's lives, and make sure that there's an increase in value in the person's life because of that creation. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it goes hand in hand. And so I took a lot of different risks many times. I think I still do, but I believe that, first of all, with no risk, there's no glory. Right. And that's something that 100%. There's no risk, there's no glory, there's no life. I also believe that fail fast is probably one of the best things that you can do. And anyone who I know that is extremely successful in business, and in how you count success in business, is through the numbers. So I'm talking people who are worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. One thing they'll repeat is fail fast. Fail fast, fail often,
100%. And
then you'll do it. So I think I've failed a lot in my life. I think I've also experienced different success levels and things that have impressed people and people who have inspired. But also, people have to realize that any success probably has a lot of things that didn't work. and you can start changing your vocabulary from failure to feedback. Because really, that's really what it is. It's feedback of something you thought might be and might not. Like I had a product, bro, that like, you know, people can vouch for me that this is true. That I believe so much in it that I've ordered thousands of pieces and of units of certain product that I didn't really test the market. And I thought it would be sell like crazy because I designed it. And guess what? Guess what? It did not happen. So I had to try so hard to sell something that was not even. And then I found a certain kind of person that loved it. And then that was interesting because they loved it and they wanted it and their friends and it was really unique because that's when I understood avatar. Like there's a certain type of person that if you speak to them, they'll buy. But there's maybe you have 100 people in the room. There's 3 type of people that they will buy.
That person.
Yes, and so there's a process. You want to find that person initially, connect to that person, get to know that person, understand that person, be that person. Now, what do you do as an actor? You become a character. So what does acting actually help me as an entrepreneur? I can actually really have compassion for a certain person. So you see where this connects?
That's a wise marketing approach, and that's marketing theory at the same time. Like first you want to understand your persona. Then once you understand the persona, you have to give it like a mold. Like who is that person? What do they eat? Are they in a relationship? What kind of car they drive? What is their lifestyle like? Do they work out? And the moment you have drafted that avatar that you mentioned, exactly, you put yourself in their feet, and how would you like to be attracted, let's say, to this? How would you like to be spoken to? What kind of personality do you have? And so what you just said is 100% marketing, and that's something that a lot of people that do get their business started fail to even try to understand, who am I marketing this? And a major error is going to be trying to sell something that appeals to you, but you're not the client. You have other clients. You have to stop selling to yourself. You have to sell to other people, and to sell to other people, once again, you have to understand who they are.
100% right. And one sacrifice that I just thought of, you know, out of thousands, that's aligned to what you just said. I remember being in college, all right, and I went to John Abbott College, and I remember having a teacher. Shout out to this woman called Pauline, and I remember her telling me. She was like, I remember leaving class early because I had an audition, and I had finished what I needed to finish. I was studying business management, and she's like, so you're going to leave to an audition as an actor? Now, I hadn't booked many things back then, but she tells me, you know how little actors actually make it, Juan? Like, just so you know. And she was really trying to protect me in a way because she liked me she was a teacher, and she liked, you know, who I was and everything like that. And she had like a sweet spot, I believe. And she's like, just letting you know. And I remember thinking about that. And other people in my life too at that point were like, you know, there's this very small percentage of actors that actually make it. There's actually someone in my family who actually showed me a statistic of how like 1% of actors, people who try to act, actually make it. And I remember hearing that, and I never believed in stats like that, bro. Like data is important, but when it comes to data of what your dream is and your purpose, all that can go out the window, you know, because when it's truly purpose, you don't become a statistic. You become literally the driving force that makes it happen. And so I remember literally leaving some classes and going to the library in college, and I would pick up a book from acting and I would read because it was a purpose. It was a calling. It was more important. I didn't understand what I was doing sitting in class, listening to something that made no sense, that I already knew, or that was like, how would this apply? And I feel like I'm wasting my time, and I understood the value of time. So what did I do? I went to the library and I picked up a book and I learned more there. And here's one line that I learned that actually subconsciously has been very powerful to me. There's an actor called Marlon Brando, a legend. He played The Godfather. Mm-hmm. He has done, you know, some incredible movies. One of the best actors that really revolutionized acting. And Marlon Brando said this. He says, I cannot play a character if I cannot think like the character. I cannot, and it's simple. But the power is in simplicity. How many actors are reading lines, trying to pretend to be someone that they're not, right? And seeing and feeling and seeing the line a certain way. This is my script. Okay, how do I have to look? How do I have to say? What's the accent? But how do the person actually truly feel and think? Because the thinking comes from the feeling as well. The feeling is the core, right? So I would even go deeper and say, I cannot play a character if I cannot feel the emotion of the character, right? And so in the same thing, if we now turn it into business, I cannot sell, I cannot serve an audience, an avatar, a person, a human being, and at the essence, a soul, if I do not understand how they think and what they feel. And so that's where I would go into the deeper marketing.
That's powerful. That's very
that's
nice.
what it is.
I like
right?
that. It's very powerful, and it's crazy. Like the best actors are the one who become the character. And like just an easy example, Heath Ledger and the Joker. The guy went so deep into this maniac that allegedly he lost it from just being the Joker. But I like it. Very profound what you said. Look, I have one more question I want to ask you, and this. What is your dream life? Where do you see yourself?
Dream life. The dream life is, I think, you know, one of the first things that came through, there's like almost a light and a darkness to it. And I think that's why Grey, which is actually a mix of both my last names, which is G from Gonzalez and Rey from Reyes, that came together when I was acting because my full name didn't fit on the call sheet and it didn't actually fit in like when you watch TV and then the last names come through. Yeah, my whole name didn't fit. So my agent called me. She's like, Juan, they're having problems. The producers are asking to pick one of your last names. And then who was my girlfriend at the time, she actually came up with the idea of combining them. So thanks to her, that's the name. And Grey became almost like under an understanding of a bridge between dark and light. That's what I felt like I've been a bridge many times in my life. I think this game is a bridge. I think many things is a bridge, and I'm trying to bridge people to a higher level of being and embodiment. And so I think the dream life is being able to really do that with people and being in my place, absolute truth, where I don't need to perform anything. Like there's always an element of performance that we all have, and I feel like I'm losing it. And that, therefore, I'm being more of me, like actually being more of me. Like when I met you, I would even say that there's a different level of things. And we lose ourselves through because we get attached to mistakes that we do, to perceptions, to things that are not even real. But we get attached to things and we try to be someone for, you talked about social media, you talked about all these different things, and it pulls you. So the real thing is to be completely in my element, in my truth, and in my creation, to the point from a light side where I'm just like so fulfilled, and I inspire people to be and do that in their own light, and I'm able to activate that light within people. And on the more shadow side, because there's no light without darkness, right? Is to not disappoint God. It's to not disappoint because I know the potential that I have, and I have a friend of mine who I'll never forget. We were on the beach in Mexico a couple of years ago, and he has a moment, and we had a project, and he looks at me and he says, Juan, you have so much potential. And he's in his 40s, and he's looking at me. I was maybe 24 at the time. He says, you have so much potential. Just make sure you don't die with that potential, bro. And the way that he said that was like it really hit me. You know what I mean? It really hit me because I know what that feels like. And imagine being that. And so I think that there's always an element of the dream life is like being able to overcome that. And I think that's a journey, but I feel like I'm on the right path, simply because of what state I'm in.
Juan, it's been a nice exchange. I like to see really that's something true you said. When we met, I did see you a certain way, but I do feel like a new person has emerged now, that spiritual side. And like maybe within those past years, I think you must have found yourself. And at first, when I met you, you're already in the pursuit of who you are. You already like had created the purpose game. So you're already seeking for a purpose at that moment. Did you have your purpose yet? I don't know. I think now I would say that your purpose is starting to get more clearer. And you, like you said, like at one point it was just cloudy and maybe you stopped doing certain things. So it's very fascinating to see really that growth. And I would like to maybe as a next part to meet again, to have a conversation and see really where it has led as along for yourself and for myself, because I'm in this constant elevation. Like I said, I eat alone now, spend time alone. I don't need nothing. I try to chase away, let's say, the noise at the same time. There are many things I don't need, and I find like even next year is going to be something new stage for myself. And I enjoy having these very thoughtful conversation with people that are chasing much more than what's around us. Chasing the inner us, but I find it's not even us. Let's say for myself, it's not even like trying to find myself. It's find even beyond who is that. Because I think myself, I found it. I think you found yourself. And I find like once you there, you're still chasing something else.
If you allow me, I'd love to invite a terminology shift perspective, if it aligns, and you take whatever is in resonance and not. But the fact of chasing means that you don't have already, right? And so you're running towards something that you don't have. And I think that if you just look at it, bro, it's like you don't have to chase anything. I think right now, especially where you're at in your life, I don't think that you're in the path of chasing anymore. I think that you're in the path literally of and even finding yourself. I think you very much know. And now there's just a process of remembering, because there's a part in Ray that can remember more of who you really are at the core. And like there's before society started messing up with you and fucking you up, just like myself as well. You know what I mean? So if we go back into that remembrance process, it's really, really, really what it's about. And I'm going to send you my audiobook that I'm actually launching next week, which is my first book, really. I wrote a book in Colombia called Haraith, which I actually tattooed right here, which it means to go back home to where we really come from. It's an ancient word. And I felt... It's crazy. I wrote the entire book. I started talking about it on social media. And then I listened, and it was like, no, it's not you. There's something still within you that needs to shift, and you need to allow that shift so that you could confidently like bring this to the world. You need to become. You are already that person, but there's a honor that you need to put, and that comes from within. So I'm listening to that, and that's what's happening. But I wrote another book called Return, which within Haraith, there is a part of it, return, and I expanded on that concept. And what return is really about, which I'm glad to give you a copy, which is really the first book that I'm really going to, share as a transmission to whoever feels a call to read it and to listen to it. And it's really about the fact that we're always returning. Like we are constantly returning to a state of mind, a thought process, an idea, feeling, we're returning. Like after this conversation, you're returning somewhere. I'm returning somewhere. Where are you returning to, bro? Where are you going to start thinking about? Are you going to start thinking about, I need to go? And is it scarcity? Is it abundance? Is it feeling? Is it gratitude? We return somewhere digitally, bro. When you go back on your phone, where am I returning to? I'm going into an entire world. And so with my relationships, where am I returning to? And that is extremely important. And if you look at it, life is a cycle, always, all the time. But we are unaware of the cycle. So my book is not here to teach anything. It's here to remind, because I've had reminders that came to me, and it really is serving me very well. And so it's bringing awareness and light into that return. And I think that initial concept will make it worth the read for anyone who reads it. And so, I think that you are like on that return, and instead of chasing anything, take a week to really feel that remembering process. And dude, you're already on the path. Like I don't even think just how I have shifted. When you first started this, you would not have been able to have this conversation. I don't believe it, because you have elevated a lot as well. And you have allowed yourself, even the time of you spending time with yourself is one of the most important things. And so anyone who's watching this, it's like you already have so much within. And that's what my initial company, Greatness Within, was really all about. It was a fact of, you already have greatness within. I really believe people have greatness within each other. And we are here to actually support that unlocking, that unfolding, and that being,
Well said, Juan. Well, thank you very much for coming by, visiting the podcast. It's a pleasure. So looking forward to, follow your ventures, see where you're going to be at, because I know you're leaving soon. This disastrous Montreal. But it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure,
brother. It's a pleasure. And I think one thing that I wanted to actually gift you, game is, remember, purpose.
Yep.
So this game right here is called 33, and it's actually a mix of an intuitive game that me and a partner designed in Tulum, mixed with the origin of purpose. And so it's now an intuitive type of game that allows people to truly connect and basically to remember what we call the original frequency. Because I believe that before all this era, we actually had a way of communicating with each other, and we are going back there. Now, some people are going to need a chip, to do that, and some people are going to tap into the intelligence that we already have within. And there's science and reminders in history that shows that there was a telepathy, there was an intuition, there was a connection, there was communication, and then it got lost. And so this is the first game that actually trains that in a fun way. You see this game, it's been tested by hundreds of people already, because we really went hard with my partner. He's amazing, and he has also played this with a lot of different people, and people are laughing. They're like they're connecting, and they're tapping into an intuitive process. And so I would like to get your thoughts
as someone look into it.
As someone who's experienced purpose in the first realm. And to see, and to the world whenever it's ready, which should be soon. I'd love to hear what you think as well.
All right, we'll do a little clip about this.
So that's it, brother.
Let's go, guys.
Let's go.
Yellow Sea Podcast.